Hi, my name is Bernd Herd. Together with my colleague Holger Zecher, we have created a video to show the system refresh workflow using SnapCenter and an ERP system based on MaxDB. In our example, we have two SAP systems, SID M01, SID M02, based on MaxDB, and we want to refresh the system from the source M01 to the target M02. The workflow in short is, first we will create a backup of the source system M01. Using that backup, then the cloning workflow starts, and the first step, it will stop the database. It will U-mount the target volumes M02. It will create a flex clone of the snapshots of the source database and will mount those flex clones to the target database, then start the database, set the password, rename the schema, will do all the technical steps that are necessary to start the SAP system. So basically you have a one-click integrated workflow using SnapCenter 4.0 with the MaxDB plugin. Now let's start the demonstration by logging into both systems. So we start the sub GUI for the MaxDB system M01. Log in the client 01. We'll do the same for the target system M02. Here the system is running on the virtual host PEM02. The original is running at the virtual host PEM01. And we use the user management as SU01 to see how many users are in the SAP system, and we will create a new user in the source system, and finally we'll, after the system clone, validate whether that user do exist in the target system after the system refresh. So let's create a user, SAP_clone_1, just by copying the substar, maintaining the necessary entries to get it saved, and double check that in the target system before we start the cloning workflow, this user will not exist. So we search for user, we see only the 3 standard users are in. So that's about the preparation. Now let's start the backup using SnapCenter. So we select the resource M01. So we go in the topology and we see the already created backup, but for this purpose we will create an on-demand backup using the snapshot weekly policy. So basically the same policy that is used for scheduling weekly snapshots here. And we start the backup workflow, and the first step after initial startup is to quiesce the database. So putting it in consistent mode. So SnapCenter communicates with MaxDB to put the database in the quiesce mode. As a next step, when the database has flushed the buffers and the storage is in a consistent state, SnapCenter creates a snapshot that will take only a few seconds. Then again it communicates with the database to unquiesce it so that the users can continue their work. So then it will get the details, register the backup, an application cleanup, and we can use that backup to start the cloning workflow. On the left-hand side, we've opened 2 terminal sessions that enable us to monitor the activity of the scripts that are stored on the target host where the MaxDB host plugin is installed. Now let's go to SnapCenter, select the recently created snapshot, and push the clone button. So with this, the cloning visit is started, and we have to choose the target host where the plugin is installed, and we can specify the clone suffix to identify the cloned resource and the export IP, that's the IP on the host where the cloned volumes will be mounted. In the next screen, we can add additional scripts that are executed during the workflow under certain events. Those scripts have to be on the local host where the plugin is installed. The possible events are before the clone, at the mount time, and after the cloned volumes have been mounted. So we could finish that input and start the cloning workflow. To monitor the progress of the workflow, we will use the two terminal screens on the left side, and the workflow scripts are tailored in a way that every script will put their log in TMP test log. So we will tail it in the lower window while we will look at the script in the upper window. So as a first step, it will issue the command stop SAP R3. This command needs to be issued as SID ADM. After the SAP system is stopped, the database needs to be stopped. So for that, we have to switch to the database administrator. All this is done in the script with the SU command specifying the standard user IDs. And after the system is stopped, the volumes are U-mounted. Now we'll see that the SAP GUI recognizes that the SAP system is stopped. While in the upper window, we will have a look at the database command to set the database offline. In the lower window now, the database is stopping. We see the progress here in the log file. And after everything is stopped, the pre-clone create commands are finished. And the original volumes are U-mounted. So we can control that here. The volumes are gone on the target system, and the storage clone will happen, continuing the Snap Center workflow. For the mount commands, once again, a small script is started that takes the UUID created exports from Snap Center and mounts them to the target volumes. So now the volumes are available and the post-clone commands could be started. So for this, the next script is started, and that script needs to start the database and do the final adaptations in the database. So for that, a database administrator needs to start this post-clone script, and we'll put the database online. We need to rename the users so that the SAP application server can access the database, and we need to initialize some SQL tables. After the database changes have been completed, the SAP system could be started. So we can monitor that progress here. This will take usually a while for the database cleanup and then also for the SAP R3 system start. We fast forwarded this output a bit. During the SAP startup, it checks for the database. We'll start the database, put it online, and then starts the SAP instance with all its processes. This system is adaptive enabled installed, so first we will start the central instance ASCS01. And after this has started, the dialog instance will be started as well. And finally, the database instance and all the required SAP processes have been started. And we can now see whether the target system has been refreshed. So we will log on to the target system. There's a first message that there is obviously something happened with the transport system. That is the typical message after system copy or clone. So we will confirm that message. And then we go to the user management to search for our user that has been created in the source system before. So let's look for all the users, and yes, here is an SAP_clone1. So we indeed have successfully created a system refresh with a simple one-click integrated workflow in SnapCenter 4.0.